Max Verstappen's rise in Formula One has been one of the most dominant in modern motorsport history. By 2025, his name was already etched alongside the greats, with multiple championships and an unrelenting winning mentality. Yet, in elite sport, the higher the pedestal, the greater the risk of a fall. Verstappen faced a unique challenge, a professional problem that could have left a lasting blemish on his legacy. This wasn't about speed or skill, but about perception, conduct, and decision-making under the microscope of global attention. With his aggressive style, every move was dissected by analysts, media, and rivals, all waiting for a misstep that could tarnish his reputation. Maintaining dominance required more than just racing ability. It demanded composure, discipline, and awareness of the fine line between competitive intensity and reckless image damage. In this environment, Verstappen had to navigate situations where even a single moment of poor judgment could overshadow years of achievement. The season tested his ability to avoid pitfalls that have caught out many legends before him, preserving not just points, but the integrity of his status. Dominating a sport like Formula One is not simply about winning. It is about winning the right way, over and over again. Verstappen entered 2025 as the man to beat, carrying the expectation of flawless execution every weekend. Rivals prepared meticulously to exploit any vulnerability, and media scrutiny intensified with each passing race. A single lapse in professionalism could become a headline, and a pattern of them could shift the narrative entirely. For Verstappen, the challenge was not mechanical or physical, but mental, sustaining peak performance while resisting the temptation to overreach in moments of frustration or pressure. The sport's history is filled with champions whose reputations faltered due to clash, as with rivals, public outbursts, or questionable tactics. Verstappen understood that the only way to protect his legacy was through consistent conduct on and off the track. Each calculated move, every measured response, and every professional interaction reinforced the image of a champion in full control, ensuring that his competitive fire never crossed the boundary into damaging controversy. Formula One history provides ample examples of drivers whose legacies suffered due to moments of misjudgment. From controversial collisions to heated verbal exchanges, the sport's archives are reminders of how quickly public perception can shift. Verstappen, early in his career, had already experienced flashes of criticism for his aggressive driving style. By 2025, he had matured into a driver aware of this fine balance. He studied the careers of past champions, identifying the moments that eroded their standing and learning how to avoid them. This awareness shaped his approach, turning potential flashpoints into opportunities to showcase composure. Whether dealing with wheel-to-wheel battles, difficult media questions, or tense political undercurrents within the sport, Verstappen's ability to remain measured became a defining strength. This wasn't about dulling his edge, but about sharpening it strategically, ensuring aggression was always channeled towards performance, never personal disputes. By internalizing these lessons, Verstappen managed to avoid falling into the same traps that had tarnished the reputations of even the most celebrated names before him. Behind Verstappen's disciplined approach was a highly coordinated support system at Red Bull Racing. Team management understood the importance of protecting their star driver's image as much as his points tally. Strategic communication, media training, and clear internal protocols ensured that potential controversies were addressed before they escalated. Red Bull's leadership, including Christian Horner and Helmut Marko, played a significant role in guiding Verstappen through politically sensitive
moments in the sport. When disputes arose, the team worked to manage narratives, ensuring Verstappen's perspective was clearly understood without feeding unnecessary drama. In a sport where team politics can often spill into public spectacle, Red Bull's alignment with Verstappen helped avoid unnecessary flashpoints. This partnership allowed him to focus purely on performance, knowing that his off-track reputation was being carefully managed. The mutual trust between driver and team ensured that when Verstappen spoke or acted, it was with a clear, unified purpose. This cohesion was essential in avoiding professional pitfalls that could have dented not only his image, but also Red Bull's standing in the championship fight. Rivalries have always been a cornerstone of Formula One drama, but they are also a minefield for reputations. Verstappen's career has been defined by intense battles, from Lewis Hamilton to Charles Leclerc, where every move on track is magnified by the rivalry narrative. In 2025, Verstappen's ability to handle these confrontations with precision was critical to avoiding reputational harm. Instead of escalating tensions into public feuds, he approached rivalries with a calculated mindset. Aggression on the track was balanced by respect in post-race interviews, reducing opportunities for controversies to spiral. His refusal to engage in prolonged media battles deprived critics of ammunition, shifting the focus back to racing performance. This approach not only preserved relationships within the paddock, but also strengthened his professional standing. By proving that he could outdrive opponents without resorting to unnecessary theatrics, Verstappen maintained the credibility of his victories. In a sport where rivalries often define legacies, his management of these high-stakes interactions became a key factor in protecting his legendary status. Formula 1 is as much about politics as it is about racing. Decisions made by governing bodies, negotiations over regulations, and behind-the-scenes alliances can heavily influence the sport's direction. For drivers, public alignment with contentious political positions can be risky. Verstappen navigated this terrain with careful neutrality, avoiding unnecessary entanglement in disputes that did not directly impact his performance. When asked to comment on divisive topics, he provided measured responses that neither inflamed nor alienated key stakeholders. This restraint prevented him from being drawn into controversies that could overshadow his on-track achievements. By focusing on sporting matters and leaving political battles to team management, Verstappen ensured that his public persona remained tied to racing excellence, rather than off-track drama. This strategy contrasted with other figures in the sport who had seen their reputations dented by misjudged political statements. Verstappen's avoidance of these traps was not a lack of opinion, but a deliberate choice to keep the spotlight firmly on his role as one of the greatest drivers of his generation. In modern Formula One, media exposure can make or break a driver's public image. Verstappen recognized that his interactions with the press were as important as his performance on track. He avoided sensationalism, opting for concise, professional answers that provided insight without inviting controversy. By refusing to take the bait from provocative questions, he denied critics opportunities to twist his words. His media appearances reflected a calm confidence, projecting authority while maintaining a level of accessibility for fans. Social media, too, was handled with precision. Posts were purposeful, reinforcing his competitive image while steering clear of inflammatory content. This control over messaging meant that Verstappen remained the author of his own narrative, rather than allowing others to define it for him. In an era where a single poorly judged comment can dominate headlines for days, his disciplined communication approach ensured that focus stayed where he wanted it, on his skill, results, and relentless pursuit of victory. This mastery of narrative management became a cornerstone of preserving his legendary status. Every Formula One driver faces moments where emotions threaten to override judgment. For Verstappen, maintaining composure in the most high-pressure scenarios was essential to avoiding reputational damage. Whether it was a questionable penalty, a mechanical failure, or a rival's aggressive move, his reactions were increasingly defined by restraint rather than outburst. This evolution marked a significant shift from the early years of his career, where raw emotion sometimes took center stage. In 2025, Verstappen's ability to channel frustration into focused performance became one of his defining strengths. Post-race interviews after setbacks reflected professionalism rather than blame, reinforcing the image of a champion who accepts challenges and moves forward. This self-control not only reduced media controversy, but also had a stabilizing effect on the team around him. Engineers, strategists, and mechanics fed off his composed energy, enabling more effective problem-solving. In a sport where reputations can be dented as easily by words as by on-track incidents, Verstappen's discipline under pressure was a decisive factor in protecting his legacy. One of the greatest risks for a dominant driver is complacency. Verstappen understood that resting on past achievements could lead to both performance decline and reputational erosion. In 2025, he maintained his competitive edge by constantly seeking improvement, even in areas where he was already strong. This relentless pursuit of excellence signaled to fans and rivals alike that his dominance was not taken for granted. His work ethic extended beyond race weekends, with intense simulator sessions, fitness regimes, and technical briefings ensuring that he remained fully prepared. This commitment sent a clear message. His position at the top was earned through ongoing effort, not entitlement. By demonstrating that his success was the product of sustained hard work, Verstappen avoided the perception of arrogance that has dented the legacies of other champions. His focus on continual growth reinforced the respect of peers, proving that even at the pinnacle, the hunger to improve remains a defining trait of true legends. As the 2025 season progressed, it became clear that Verstappen had successfully navigated the professional problem that could have undermined his standing in the sport. Through measured rivalries, disciplined communication, political neutrality, and unyielding commitment to performance, he preserved the integrity of his legendary status. While controversies occasionally touched the periphery of his career, none gained enough traction to overshadow his achievements. In a sport where the margins between glory and criticism are razor-thin, Verstappen's ability to manage both the racing and the perception battle was a masterclass in professionalism. His legacy, built on unmatched skill and fortified by strategic self-awareness, remained untarnished. The story of 2025 was not just about victories and championships, but about the deliberate choices that kept his reputation intact. Verstappen emerged from the season not only as one of the most successful drivers in Formula One history, but also as one of the most disciplined in safeguarding what that history would remember. In doing so, he ensured that his name would stand unblemished among the sport's true greats.